Welcome back to another day of living in the new house. It is raining, which is convenient because the roofer came around this morning before it was raining, which was good. Yeah, he had a quick look at the roof. No problems with getting the tile over the chimney stack. No problems with the vent for the bathroom that we need to get put in. He's going to fix the rest of the flashing and everything else like that. So he's going to email us over a quote for all of that, which is all good. What he did note as well, and if I manage to get the photo, I'll pop it here. If not, then have some empty space or a picture of something strange. What he actually noted is there's actually gaps in between all the ridge tiles going all the way down the roof, which isn't ideal, he said. He says if the water's getting through that and getting under the line is just going to crumble and rot away, so he's recommended replacing those as well. So we should be able to get those hopefully replaced. We'll get a quote for that later this afternoon. But plan of attack for today is we need to finish this part of the wall. Now, to work out how long this section needs to be, we need to work out where this particular part of the wall's going and make sure it's square. So, unfortunately, in the never-ending game of moving things around, we need to be moving some of this timber, some of this rubbish, getting it out of the way, looking at getting that floorboard partially back in, because we kind of need to leave a hole for the pipework that's going to go through there. I'm still not quite sure how that one's supposed to work, but I'm basically going to build the frame so we can just slide it in and out to start with, and then when the plumber gets here, I can then just go, that's where it's going, where do you want your pipes? And then we can fix everything down afterwards, or pre-cut the holes and fix everything down afterwards. But yeah, that is the plan of attack for the first thing part of today. So let's get busy with it. We've got the base plate and the roof plate cut to length. We've got the piece of floorboard which is going to be used to fill in that hole now cut to length as well. I think the next challenge is before we build anything is actually this light switch, which is all conked up with, well, it looks like concrete as opposed to plaster, but hey. The problem is if you look here, this stud is running along this piece of plasterboard here. And unfortunately, that's exactly where that light switch actually drops through the ceiling here. So I think what we need to do is knock the concrete off that as best as we can, disconnect the switch from the box, run the cable back up into the loft and then reconnect the switch. It does mean we have got to go drop the electrics. So I get the feeling this is going to be an absolute pain in the backside, but let's see how painful it actually is when we go and do it. That's the cable out of the way. The other one can stay there, that's not in the way at the moment. I'm still a bit unsure on whether I'm supposed to completely fix this down, so I think I've made a decision now that I'm just going to build the frame like I did this one and just leave it floating so I can get it in and out as need be, and then when the plumber arrives, hopefully later, we can just go and pull it out. You can weld his pipe work he needs to do, we can put it back in, drill through, secure everything up. I believe that's the plan of action, so unless I hear otherwise, we just need to start getting on with it now. That was a much better way of doing it. I'm quite glad I didn't build the frame on the floor and then try and lift it up. Thankfully that light top beam was short enough that I could literally just hold it up and put that one piece in it. It held everything in place, which was fantastic. What you may have noticed in that clip is I did recut one of the beams just because it was a little bit short, so I wanted something a little bit longer. Not going to waste though, because that'll form part of that wall over there, because that stud's mounted the other way, so I've actually got a little bit more wiggle room, so if I nip the end off that, that'll do perfectly for that, which is good. But yeah, she's in. Plumber said fix the floor, so we are now fixed down into the floor. Everything is nice and secure. The only bits we've got left to do in terms of fixing this is I do need to go up in the loft and put some battening over the top and fix more permanently up into the roof, because realistically it's only pinned at the moment in that one corner and the rest is just sort of the pressure fit interference fit, I guess, if you're an engineer putting it that way, it goes in there. I think next task we're going to do now is we're going to actually fix this batten into this wall here. So shout out to Jack, he's recommended these like plugs effectively that we use, that you don't use wall plugs with them, they just go straight into the mortar. So it's going to be a first time trialing these, so we're going to make some noise and drill into the wall here, and hopefully they fix it pretty solid. And then I think next job is either up in the loft fixing there, or we're going to get that batten cut down to size of here and start mounting the ply that we need for mounting the radiators and the mirror and everything else onto that wall. And plus, when the toilet's in as well, it's just going to give a little bit more privacy. I know there's not a door yet, but we can hang a curtain there temporarily if needed. So, good progress on that front, and then it's probably up in the loft, fix the top of that, and then after that, probably going to cut the hole for the shower, slash make the housing for the shower that's going to go up in the loft. So, we're motoring along now, which is good. We just about managed to get the SDS in with a bit of wheeling around to get it in from there. Fixings wise, I mean, they're in and they're relatively solid, but they seem to go in like too easy for my liking. It looks like it's solid, feels like it's solid. Maybe that's just how they're meant to be. So could be a good shout, Jack. We might find out in 15 years as the wall falls down. The wall won't fall down. It's the most bomb-proof wall I've ever built. Well, it's the most bomb-proof wall I've ever built. It's the only, well, actually technically the second wall I ever built, but the other one was a pocket door rather than a wall. So yeah, solid, we're in. Right, we just got to get that last stud in, and then wall is done. No more wall. So we've got this piece of 5.5mm ply, which is too big currently to go upstairs. So what I want to do is get this cut while the weather's still good. Unfortunately, as with everything we're doing so far, there are challenges involved. The problem we've got is that now we've got that stud in, I've just gone to measure up the wall and just to see, this is where the board's going to sit. And what you actually find is that the wall itself isn't square. So we know that pillar is, what's the word I'm looking for? Square, level. It basically, it's leaning the correct way. It's square, so when we mount the door and it's going to be okay. Problem is that this one here is off kilt on the wall. The wall itself is off kilt. The floor is on a different angle. The roof is on a different angle. And what all that basically means is that the bottom of the wall, that is about just under 1,000mm across the bottom there. At the top, it's more like 1,010mm, so 1 meter, 1 centimeter. And then in this side, it's 231 centimeters, and this side is like 230 centimeters. So there's almost like 10mm out of alignment on every single side from there. That was probably the most extravagant and least understandable explanation of the problem. Hopefully that helps show how much of a pain in the arse this is going to be. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it to the largest dimension so I've got some room to play with. And then I'm going to bring it upstairs so I can get that board actually up here then. Place it up, mark it where it needs to go hopefully, and then chop out just the weird angles that needs to be done because it's not going to be completely square. Wish me luck. So after my clip explaining, I did actually change my mind and decide to cut it to the right size, or tried to anyway. We're a little bit snug on this top corner, and we've got some freedom on that corner, but that's okay because that beam doesn't actually go all the way up there, so it allows us to do some fixing, which is good. So, I mean, this board is square, so that just shows how out of kilt this part of the wall is. But a couple of things I probably should do in advance just before I cut that down and get it fixed up is, one, I need to obviously clean up the dust. That's not helping the situation. And two, I need to put the battening in here as well. I've just realised, because if I don't do that now, I won't be able to get my ugga-dugga and screwdriver into that section. So let's work out where we want to put that battening first and get that in. Drop that out, get all the nails out, clean everything up, slim that edge down, and then we'll get that fixed to the wall, and then that's that job done as well. Well, the ply's in. We had a best guesstimate at that's the height I think we're going to go. So on that wall we can fit a 900mm by 600mm heated LED type mirror. There's loads of options down there, but I think that's the dimensions we're going to settle for. But yeah, we've got that in. I think I've rotated this, and you'll see my half decent, not so decent, wiggly jigsaw line down there. I did rotate it when I first put it in because I thought one side was higher than the other, but I think what I was doing is I was just hitting that nail. So what I may actually do is just drop this piece of ply back out, twist it back around again, just so I've got the machine cut straight edge on the other side. But yeah, that's it. It's in. You start getting a bit of a feel for what the room's hopefully going to look like now. So we'll have the sink, drawers, vanity unit, mirror all on that section there. We'll have the toilet here, and this is the new and completed space. I mean, if I actually take a moment to look back at what it used to look like and feel what it used to look like, it is a very, very different atmosphere in here, which is a good or bad thing, depending how I take it. But yeah, very happy.